Today, I'm going to be taking a look at the latest version of SiteKtafter Divi framework. Let's dive in. All right, so over here, I've already gone ahead and installed a blank version of Divi 5. However, SiteKtafter framework also works on Divi 4. All right, so let's take a look at the changelog. And by the way, we have a dedicated page now which has the changelog. So every time there's an update, you're going to be seeing this page and you can always go in and see what has been changed, what has been fixed, and so on. All right, so in this version, we have dark and light backgrounds. We also have a pre-header style. We also have the ability to duplicate pages and posts. All right, so let me show you what I mean. So the idea with SiteKtafter is to enable you to design your websites faster and more consistently. So this feature here is actually really important because at the moment in WordPress, there is no way of duplicating a page that you have just designed. And sometimes you may want to design a similar page, but in that case, you would either have to export the design and then import it again, or you have to redesign it from scratch. And that's really a waste of time. So let me show you. So over here, this is not running SiteKtafter yet. So if I come over here to all pages, you're going to notice that when I hover over here, there is no option for us to duplicate this page. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you how to install SiteKtafter. All right, so what we're going to do is going to come over here to Appearance and then go to Themes. So you want to make sure you're either running Divi 5 or Divi 4 for the framework to work. All right, so what we're going to do now, as you can see, when you go ahead and download SiteKtafter, you're going to get a folder which is zipped. It looks like this one. Okay, so when you double click on it, it opens up into this. So we need to go into this folder here. This is where all our files are. So the first one here is the framework. So if you're using SiteKtafter on a website that does not have the starter site, then you can, install the framework because it makes it easier for you to see and reference all the CSS classes. But what we need here is this one right here, which is the SiteKtafter PRO 6.0.1. That's the version that we need to install. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to click here on Add New Theme and click on Upload. And then I'm just going to drag and drop it here like that. So you want to make sure you're dragging and dropping the proper one, which is SiteKtafter PRO 6.0.1. This is very important because occasionally I see people say to me that things are not working. So you want to make sure that you have the perfect one. All right, so I'm going to click now on Install. So what's going to happen now is a child theme with all the features that I've just mentioned is going to be installed. So right now I can now go in and activate, and you're going to notice now that we now have this child theme active and it has overridden, or not overridden, but it has now taken center stage over here. And at any point, if you want to see what version you're running, just click over here like that. And you're going to see that we have version 6.0.1 over here. Okay, great. So now that we have this installed, you're going to notice now that we have our feature, which is the first one right here. In fact, this one here, the duplicating of posts and pages. Okay, so let's go ahead and test it. So we're going to come over here to Pages, click on All Pages. And with this now, if I hover over it, you're going to notice now we have a duplicate here. So if I wanted to duplicate this page and just do a quick design, I can just click on Duplicate. And all I need to do now, and in fact, the cool thing about this is it opens up this in a new page ready for you to start designing it. So let's say I'm going to add an X to that because this is my duplicated page. I can also come over here to the link and then I can just add my X here because of course they're going to have the same names. So with that now, I'm just going to hit publish temporarily here. And that means that I can now go into my builder here, edit with the builder, and I can start designing. So when I go back, let's say I save this and I'll do a quick preview. Okay, so that's my preview. So if I go back now to my dashboard, so we're going to exit to the dashboard here. If I go to Pages, All Pages, you'll notice now that I have this page, which is exactly a copy of that one. So this just enables you to work really, really fast. All right, so now that we have this, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and edit with Divi so I can show you the other features. All right, so I'm just going to delete this and add a new. In fact, I will add, 2 columns. Right, so in these columns, I'm going to add a text module here like that. And then I'm just going to duplicate it. Okay, I need 2 of them. All right, so with the first one, I'm just going to need a bit of text so I can demonstrate the pre-header. Okay, so now that I have this, to activate our pre-header, I'm going to come over here to Advanced, CSS ID and Classes, and then I'm just going to type in pre-header, pre-header. So you can see now that it has been added there. So there's two ways here. If you want, you can just add your SK, and then we have the right size. Okay, so that's going to act as our pre-header. Now I'm going to move on to the next one here. And for this one, I'm just going to need a bit of text. So I'm just going to get rid of a bit of that and that. Okay, so we're going to use that as our heading. And I'm going to come over here to Advanced, CSS ID and Classes. So the first thing I need to do here is to add my margin. So I'm going to say margin dash top dash medium. I mean, you can set this to small, whatever you want. It's up to you how you're designing. All right, so now that I have this, next, I am now going to add my title. So I'm going to say heading, and this is going to be, let's try large. And we also want to make it bold. Okay, there's quite a bit of text here. So let's just change our columns and use something like that. In fact, there's still a bit of text here, so we need to just reduce this. Okay, so let's say that's our heading, and we have an element that could come over here on the right side. But anyway, we're not going to go in full blown and start editing this. So I think, in fact, you know what? I can just go back here quickly and change this to perhaps maybe margin top to small. I think that's much better. Right, great. So over here now, our next feature is the background colors. So as you're designing, you're going to notice that there are occasions where you need to add your background colors, your light colors. So if I come over here to background, normally you would add it manually by coming over here, but we don't want to do that because here we can just go to CSS ID and Classes and then just say light. Okay, so now we have our light background. And let's say I duplicate this and perhaps maybe I want to make this lighter. I can just come over here to Advanced, CSS ID and Classes, and then I'm just going to say lighter. Okay, so now you can see we have two distinct layouts now. So let's say as we're designing this, we decide, okay, we want to do something a bit different here. I'm going to go into my row settings, and this time I'm going to go to Advanced, and I'm going to say darker. Now, do you see? Just by doing that, my background colors has been added here, and this has been, super fast. And I'm not sure if this is going to work. Let's try our padding large. There we go. So we have our padding large. So it means we have enough padding here, which is uniform around our design here. So this is the point where we can go in and add our images. So we can also go lighter. So if you wanted to, perhaps maybe add a lighter background. Let's try it on. Okay, let's duplicate this. How about that? Okay, so while we have this selected, I'm just going to say margin top. Let's go ahead and add our margin here. Margin dash top. And this time it's going to be small. There we go. But with this now, instead of having it darker, I'm just going to go dark. There we go. Now, I know there isn't much of a difference here, but they definitely is a difference. So if you really want to see the difference, if I come over here to my background and go to Advanced, and let's say for this one here, we're going to go dark or darker. You can really see now there's a bit of a difference between those two. So this is a very good addition to your workflow. You can add these dark backgrounds as you're designing, and at any point, if you feel like you don't need them anymore, you can just go in and remove them. And you can see now this one is a much lighter background as compared to this one here. Okay, so those are the updates that we have in this version. I will continue adding more updates to our framework to make things easier for us and, of course, help us design our websites faster. And we're also going to be adding, features like security. We're going to be adding so many features to this. It's going to be super, super awesome. If you have any ideas of what I can add to the framework, please do just add them onto our community. And if you're not a community member at the moment, go ahead to diviuniversity.com and sign up to be a community member, because over there, the idea is to share anything, Divi related, freelancing, how to design websites, and so on. All right. So that's my update for SiteKtafter PRO 6.0.1. There's something new coming out tomorrow. So keep your eyes and ears open. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again in the next one. Take care.